So what do we want to start with? We should probably show one of the pretty new shafts, shouldn't we? You want to start with that? Is that handy?
I don't have out here.
Okay, he's got. So this is what this first part he's showing you is the thing that took the longest to produce. This, as you probably remember from reading all the emails, the original shaft, output shaft, main shaft, depending on who you talk to, which book you read, they call it different things. This is an extremely shortened version of the part that is in the Borg-Warner T5. And then, of course, it's been gun drilled. So the original one was made from the T5 part. And obviously in a T5, you don't have concentric shafts, and you have the input on one end of the shaft and the output on the other end instead of both out the same end, in this case this end. So what Lynn Richardson did was he extended this end of the shaft.
Put it up just a little bit, Ken.
There, is that better?
Yeah.
He extended this end of the shaft to create enough space to put a bearing, because obviously if you're going to have input and output on one end, it's going to wobble if you don't have something to support the other end. And so that's what that was all about. And in theory, that is a good idea. But as Tim and Rick will attest, theirs and John's, I think, too. Yours never did?
Never had a problem.
Okay, so snapped off. And
This is the problem.
I don't think mine ever failed. It was close though.
it was close, yeah.
It did. I don't think he extended it, but he made it. He had to weld it up to enlarge it.
Ah, so there wasn't actually any material growing this way. I see.
No, it was this one.
Just diameter.
Just diameter, right. Okay.
Yeah, it was the thin wall of the original shafts that was a killer. I had mine welded up twice after 2 separate failures.
Okay.
Biggest problem with that is they should have been welded before they were drilled.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yep. And so what the guy, it's not part of the call today, a guy named Jerry Bullis in Mesa, Arizona, found that he analyzed the failures and found hydrogen embrittlement, which that's not good. So we made the decision as a group, as you remember, after taking a bunch of them apart in 2008, that probably the best way to solve this was to make a new shaft. And so that's what I'm holding here. Okay, so anyway, this is the shaft, and those of you that have had there we go, up,
There you
yep. Those of you who've had the rebuild done, this is what the new shaft looks like, and we've sent pictures. And then when we had the shafts made, of course, this item here, which we call the first second gear hub, it was not part of having the shaft made. So there was some work involved in figuring out how to get this hub onto this shaft and to not grow, because there are 93 tiny little splines in this shaft, and so any kind of interference at all, and it made the OD of this grow. And the problem with that is there is a ring that fits over this, and it's a fairly close tolerance, and it wouldn't fit properly, and it has to be able to slide back and forth because that's what transmissions do. And so after quite a bit of work, John made the magic tool. All hail the magic tool. This goes around this hub before it's pressed on, and it keeps it from growing, basically, because this is the inner and outer piece here that go over this. You can see how that works, and it's close tolerance. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So this is the heart of the rebuild, is this new shaft. And Dwayne, do you want to say anything about, just for posterity, kind of where we had this done and how impressed we were with their work and all that kind of jazz?
Yeah, we had a company in Portland called American Machine and Gear, and yeah, there we have a hat. They chose to take this project on, and the reason I chose them, they had done some work for Bob Anderson on the pinion shafts in the transmission, so they had a priori knowledge about Corvairs. And they took the job on, and their duplication, they duplicated everything. I mean, John can probably tell you some things they duplicated they didn't even need to duplicate. But we got a product back that looks, at least to my eye, exactly as the original looked. Plus, we had control of the steel that we put in it, the heat treat, the gun bore, just everything that went into the whole operation. And I think we got a shaft that if Lynn had thought through it in the beginning, that's what would have been done, and we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. But
Right.
here we are.
Here we are. Is there anything else, John, that you've had to do to any of these?
Check the bore on after assembly.
Oh, right, right. So this guy, with all the jewelry on it, sometimes it was shrinking just a tiny bit, right?
Well, the input shaft is the spline area on the input shaft is a pretty snug fit going through, and it only takes, sometimes I think it only takes 3, 4, 5 tenths to make it really damn difficult. But there's a tool for everything.
Right.
That's just a basically a polishing roll and a little time. It open them up enough to get
Right.
through. Once it gets through, the shaft, the input shaft is fine.
Right. Yep, that's right. You had to do that on a few of them. I remember that now.